Hey everyone, Green Cricket here, doing weekly in-depth Gwent guides chosen by the community. Last week you wanted to see some Scoia'tael Handbuff, so this week this is exactly what we're going to look at. We'll be looking at the carding deck list, a mulligan guide, our gameplay plan, which is very important when playing Handbuff, an analysis of each matchup, and then we'll look at an example match. Don't forget to vote on next week's deck guide by leaving a comment down below and subscribe if you like what I'm doing. And now, let's start. The core cards of this deck are Elven Swordmaster and Bren, both dealing damage to an enemy depending on the card's current power. The more we can buff up those units, the stronger they will hit, basically doubling the points of every hand buff effect placed on them. To grow those units stronger, we use Hawker Support and Riot Neophyte. Hawker Support lets us choose a unit in our hand, which then gets buffed by 3 points, while Riot Neophyte offers more tempo, therefore only buffs 2 arbitrary units in our hand by 1. Reconnaissance helps us to look for both of those cards. Since Handbuff struggles with round 1 tempo, we include a combo which enables us to catch up and to fin a bit. One Blue Mountain Elite will pull the other Blue Mountain Elites from the deck, and every time they move they will buff themselves by 2. Now you would row stack Blue Mountain Elites with your other units, and when you reach 6 units in a row, you can unleash the tempo combo. Playing our leader Brewer Hook lets us play a silver unit or a bronze dwarf, so we can choose Barkley Elves. Barkley plays a dwarf from the deck and strengthens it by 3, and since we only have one additional dwarf, it will always strengthen and play Sheldon Skaggs. Sheldon moves all units away from the row he was played, buffing himself by 1 for every unit moved. Therefore we get 4 points for Brewer, 5 points for Barkley, 9 points for Sheldon Space Power and 1 point for every unit moved, so Sheldon adds 17 points, and then 6 additional points because Blue Mountain Elites will buff themselves being moved by Sheldon, making this play worth 32 points, enabling us to contest round 1 while we set up later rounds through the Swordmasters. Marching orders is included to access Barkley, Blue Mountain Elites or Ida, depending on what we have in our hand. Ida is another Brewer Hook target and offers additional removal, long-term value because of weather or weather clear on our side. Yevin is included to counter spy in round 2 and to fin a bit more. Yoavev offers us additional buffs for our Swordmasters while providing value and removal. Shirou can turn the tide against decks with high units, and the Glaze is a power play on her own, being able to steal a bronze or silver special card from the enemy's graveyard and then play it. Royal Decree lets us access Yoavev more consistently at the beginning of the game, or threat us the other goals when needed. About the mulligan. We want to keep our goals, as many Swordmasters as possible, Bran, Marching Orders, 1 Blue Mountain Elite and all Reconnaissance. We want to get rid of the remaining Blue Mountain Elites, Hawker Support and Neophytes, we can look them up with Reconnaissance, and we want to get rid of both dwarfs if Ida and Marching Orders are not available. In that case, we could keep Barkley and use Brewer to play Ida. Let's look at the game plan, which ties in closely with the mulligan. Important is that we have as many Swordmasters and Bran in hand as possible after the mulligan, so we can split the buffs onto all the units and Yoavev achieves maximum value. If we only buff one Swordmaster, then it won't be able to achieve full value, since often you're not able to hit one big unit for 20 points. Playing Handbuff allows us to do some unique things like sacrificing points in round 1 by playing low tempo units like Hawker Smuggler, but therefore get 6 points of carryover for later rounds. So the idea of round 1 is to play as long as possible while setting up our round 3, because the shorter round 3 is, the more impact your buffed units will have. We typically start with getting Blue Mountain Elites on the board, so Reconnaissance can give us better options, and then we play as many Reconnaissance as possible to play Hawker Smugglers and Neophytes. If we have access to Yoavev, then we play him before we play any elves from hand to get the maximum impact, and the perfect timing would be after the enemy played an engine, which Yoavev can remove. Always calculate if the enemy could outtempo you in a round, and before that happens, trigger your Barkley Sheldon combo to catch up and often go ahead. You can also use this to push the enemy out of the round when you did your setup for round 3. Don't be afraid to use Shirou in round 1 if it gets you ahead, because Swordmasters need big targets as well in round 3, so the value of Shirou will be diminished. Depending on the matchup, we wanna keep Shirou or not, but more about that in the matchup section. Ideally, you have one round 1, so you go second in round 3, enabling you to drop your big Swordmasters on everything the enemy plays. Often it is good to keep a proactive play for round 3 like a Glaze, a Neophyte or such, because the enemy will try to drop low units first, so your Swordmasters won't get the full value. Let's go into the matchups in detail. Great Swords. Use Hawker Smugglers early to buff up your Swordmasters to 8 and then knight 2 or 3 greatswords through them, but preferable through Iorveth and Ida. Big Swordmasters are nice, but small greatswords are way better than big greatswords. Pass after you denied the setup, and if possible, keep your movement combo 4 on 2 to really push ahead when they do the setup again. If the greatsword don't grow big, then use Shirou in round 1 or 2 on a big ship to get the tempo you need to secure card advantage. Veterans. Keep Shirou and try to play a medium long run free so they need to stack bears. Try to keep Swordmaster at 10 value by splitting the buffs across many Swordmasters. Shirou has the power to double Scourge bears, and by using Swordmasters you can hit bigger units so Scourge hits the bears for sure. X-Men. You have a lot of removals, so buff up your Swordmaster and utilize them and Iorveth to kill as many X-Men as possible. Keep Ida to remove Gold Weather and Skellige Storm, and utilize a Glaze to get the enemy under weather as well. Consider keeping Sheldon to move units out of Skellige Storm and away from X-Men. Shoop Scoia'tael. They will put a lot of value on the board, but we have the movement combo to help us stay in the round. Follow the usual game plan and try to get as many points for run free as possible. Typically, they like to play a short run free where Swordmasters will shine as well. Nilfgaard Handbuff. Try to push ahead in round 1 and use your movement combo to secure it. Bleeding them with as many big units as possible is critical in this matchup, while you want to keep a Glaze and Shirou 4 and 3 to Scourge and Mandrake the spotters and market divisions. The more cards they lose before round 3, the more a Glaze and Shirou will hurt. Alchemy. Use Blue Mountain Elites early. If they hit them with Witches, then they will lose value. Otherwise, you have targets for Sheldon. Follow the usual game plan and use a Glaze with Mandrake on the Calvate if they have done that before, so the round 3 push is not that big. Don't kill off the units or they may use ointments already in round 1 again. If you have the choice to pull Iorveth or a Glaze with Royal Decree, a Glaze will be the better choice in this matchup. Reveal. Mangonel's really up to the tempo, so we need to do everything to deny them with Iorveth, Ida and our Swordmasters. We can counter the big reveal push through our movement combo, and then we just need to match the tempo in round 1, which should be doable at that point. Shirou in round 3 won't find suitable targets, especially if they play a Scourge variant, so don't be afraid to use Shirou early. Try to distribute your buffs, because if they reveal your one big Swordmaster, then they may steal its power with a Vanendel Elite, making it unusable. Consider playing the Swordmaster before that can happen. Death Wish. Follow the normal game plan and trigger their DAOs for them, so that Griffins and Cyclops only have suboptimal targets like Archespore. Our movement combo should be good to match the tempo, and keep Shirou in the case they play Nova. If not, then use him in round 1 to get tempo by hopefully scorching 2 Cyclops and keep the Swordmaster 4 and 3. Foltest Machines. Typically, they start with Blue Stripe Scouts, so play Blue Mountain Elites depending on your con color, and unbuffed Elven Swordmaster, and then use Shirou to scorch the whole board for a significant amount of points. Kill the crewmen with Ida and Iorveth, and if they play siege supports, then sacrificing Swordmasters to get rid of them is totally fine. You'll probably face a Dijkstra and medium-sized units in round 3, so again, try to split buffs between all your Swordmasters so to not lose value. And now, let's look at an example match.
Onward, sons of Nilfgaard!
Calvate again, Michael Wolf. Okay, we got those, we don't need them. We have Ida, okay, let's blacklist the Neophyte. That's actually really good. Since we play against Alchemy... Oh wait, the question is, do we play against Alchemy or Soldiers? If you play against Soldiers, we have a problem against Alchemy... And if you play against Alchemy, then this is also not bad because the witches won't find target here. So it's fine to play them in the beginning. We don't have access to Iorveth, which is a bit of a problem. It's not a big problem, but it would be nicer to have him in the beginning. At least we have 2 Swordmasters here. Okay, stop Alchemy. Interesting. So... let's go for some carryover, I guess.
Fine! If my coin's ranked to ye, go kiss a dog neath its tail.
And if he tempos us now with, for example, playing like the Vicar Novice into an AL, then we kind of need to play our big tempo play.
Now, how did that
Only
concession
play
go?
Swallow. But even Swallow is not enough, sadly. I've been using Reveal, it's going well, but Swordmasters are pretty difficult to beat. Actually, I really hate to play Reveal against... I really hate to play Handbuff against Reveal, because they always steal like the value from a Swordmaster, so... You keep saying Alchemy wrong, but it's kind of endearing. How do you say it? Alchemy? Alchemy. Alchemy? I don't know. It's kind of endearing. Well, I guess it's a good thing.
We've hammered enough. Let's get to work.
It's my right as a foreigner to pronounce things wrong. It's already like maddening enough that English is like the world's language and that everyone needs to learn English except people who live in America and England and stuff. So you already have like a lot of benefits from birth on. So let me say alchemy wrong. It's my right. Do we play better?
Why have you summoned me?
I mean, why not, right? Alchemy? Alchemy. Alchemy? Alchemy. Alchemy! Oh, now I get it. Alchemy. Alchemy. Oh, sure. Okay, makes sense. You're pronouncing it in German rather than English. You probably that's probably the crap. Yeah, and in German you would say alchemy. So alchemy is basically the German pronunciation. So I'm going with like alchemy. Anyway, so we could steal the Makame, but I would rather go with something else. 8 points is doable as long as we don't get hockey support here. There we go.
I shall not fail.
Hey Andrew, by the way. Oh, you just joined. Well, welcome back. Roach. Okay, so it means he probably doesn't use Calvit. You could use now a glaze and to Mandrick the Roach. I mean, why not?
You'll be fine.
No power for Roach. No hate. Love from India? Oh, it's honestly like I really enjoy if you tell me like how stuff is pronounced right. I can't promise that I'll pronounce it right, but like I always like to learn. And so speak up if I'm pronouncing stuff horribly wrong.
How can I help?
Tracy actually can make it again.
That was not in the spell books.
The good thing is that we can safely play Hawker support now.
None shall
Oh,
tread
that
on
was
us.
perfect. We have now 20-point Swordmaster here.
Here's our chance.
And it's gone. Let's see what we get here. Tired for the witches, and
Now we will see
this
who
time
is
we
weak.
didn't get the perfect one. But it's good that the Vader ticks for us. It really helps. I'm surprised you don't run Dragoons in the deck. Too much removal in the meta, I guess. You don't need them. Dragoons are really good in a long round, but it can take for a long time. But with the current amount of removal in meta, it's like hard to have them stick. And they are nearly the same tempo than Dragoons, but they don't need to be 3 rounds on the board, and they can like target what I get, for example. So focusing on those and like neophytes with a bit of more extra tempo is totally enough to get the Swordmasters where they need to be. And then I'd rather play Blue Mountain Elites for some like push in the beginning. Well, okay, I think we need to get some Swordmasters out
Swords
here.
I smile at, weapons laugh to scorn.
There we go. Julian Hansen, hey man, how you doing? What is the highest win ratio deck for Scoia'tael? Shoop. Definitely Shoop. Go with Shoop. Shoop is like amazing. Shoop is really like especially the thing is like Shoop with Scoia'tael is good because Shoop is good, but also because like all the cards from Scoia'tael have like insane tempo just on their own. It's like really, really great. I think we just keep this right. And then we go into Errata, I don't know. Same along round 3. I think he has the better cards currently.
I exist
If I can get Shivu, maybe that would help. Let's see. Let us see. How to beat Shoop? Yeah, that's tricky, right? Oh, nice. Beating Shoop is like, don't get out tempo in round 1 by stuff like Ice and Cream into real and stuff.
No one can hide from me.
There's no real like beat Shoop. Just get more points on the board than Shoop does. So if you play Greatsword, go through with your gameplay plan. If you play Handbuff, try to get like this as Swordmasters. Against Shoop, you really need to like just try to get your win condition because Shoop basically has no lose condition. So that's the thing.
You'll regret your mum ever squirted you out.
Take them to long run free. Yeah, that's a good tip. Often like Shoop players try to get in a short run free because they want to get for like 25 point Shoop off, or just like want to get this big Shoop off. So that's something you can do. But other than that, it's hard. But I'm in love with Zero Dash deck. I got the first Masters thing after Gold. Really, with Zero Dash? Well, that's nice. Like, I actually really struggle like with Zero Dash. It's glad that it works so good for you. I'm thinking of just doing this. Like, you probably won't be better target, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, how lovely!
It's for sure not a bad target. So now I just need to see that we get something for those fellas.
Time to get our hands dirty.
Let's buff up our Swordmasters a bit more.
Enough of this farce. Vedrai Elle!
But like Zero Dash is like one of my favorite decks. Like I play it just for fun, but it's just insanely funny.
We follow Letho's lead.
Problem is like the Swordmasters deal more damage than my
May your sword and arm be
witches.
one.
Still 23 points ahead, but let's see if that's enough. I mean, this is pretty decent if I get a target for it. But he may just like ointment and another Witcher. Let's see. I changed it up a bit, like with allies as well. Oh, you go for a real mulligan. Wow. Is he ointment again? Yeah. You don't really find targets for my Swordmasters. So this might be really, really tricky here. If he has a nice Triss here.
Let us sing the song of steel.
With Triss he can get another Witcher, which means 15 points. Oh, he's really for it.
An
okay.
interesting choice.
Well, this is going to be troublesome. If he gets an ale now...
How did that incantation go?
Thank you, Roach. If Roach would have jumped to this row, I would have had a big problem. Don't forget to leave your suggestion for next week's deck guide down below and subscribe if you like what I'm doing. If you're interested in seeing more Gwent in-depth deck guides, then you can watch them over here. Thanks for watching and see you over in the next video.